Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we're tackling a medium-level problem called Count Special Triplets. It sounds a bit math-heavy, but it's actually a really interesting pattern matching puzzle. We're going to break it down step by step, figure out the logic behind it, and then look at two efficient ways to solve it. Let's get started. So here's the deal. We are given a list of integers, which we'll call nums. We need to find the number of special triplets. A special triplet consists of three indices. Let's call them I, j, and k. These indices have to be in increasing order, meaning I comes before j, and j comes before k. But the real trick is in the values at those positions. The number at the first spot I must be exactly twice the number at the middle spot j. And the number at the last spot k must also be exactly twice the number at the middle spot j. Basically, we're looking for a sandwich where the buns are double the size of the meat in the middle. Let's simplify that condition. We are looking for three numbers in a specific order. If we focus on the middle number at position j, let's say its value is x. Then, somewhere to its left, we need to find a number with the value 2x. And somewhere to its right, we also need to find a number with the value 2x. So, for every middle element we check, we're asking, how many times does your double appear before you, and how many times does it appear after you? Let's walk through the first example to make this crystal clear. Our list is 6, 3, 6. Since we need a triplet, the only possible middle candidate here is the number at index 1, which is the 3. So j is index 1. Now we look to the left. The number at index 0 is 6. Is 6 equal to 3 times 2? Yes, it is. So we have one valid left part. Now look to the right. The number at index 2 is also 6. Is that 3 times 2? Yes. So we have one valid right part. To get the total combinations for this middle point, we multiply the count on the left by the count on the right. 1 times 1 gives us one special triplet. Just a quick heads up. We'll be walking through the solution using Python logic, because it's very readable, but don't worry if that's not your main language. I'll be showing the full code for Java, C++, and JavaScript towards the end of the video, so stick around for that. This brings us to our first approach, which the editorial calls enumeration plus counting. The brute force way would be to pick a middle point, then loop through everything on the left and everything on the right. But that's way too slow. Instead, we can be smarter. We can walk through the list just once. As we visit each number, we treat it as the middle element j. If we keep track of the numbers we've seen so far, we instantly know the left count. And if we already know the total count of each number in the entire list, we can figure out the right count by doing a simple subtraction. Total minus left equals right. Okay, we've talked about the big picture and the logic. Now let's see what this looks like as actual code. I'll put the full solution up on the screen first. And don't worry, after that, we'll walk through the most important sections together. Alright, here's the Python code for the first approach. It's surprisingly short. We basically have two loops. The first one is just for pre-processing, and the second one does the heavy lifting. Let's break down exactly what's happening inside that second loop. First, we set up two dictionaries. One is called num_cnt, and the other is num_partial_cnt. We loop through our entire list of numbers once, just to fill up num_cnt. This gives us the total number of times each value appears in the entire array. We need this so that later, when we're at a specific spot, we can figure out how many matching numbers are still ahead of us. Now for the main loop. We iterate through each number v, treating it as the middle of our triplet. First, we calculate our target, which is simply v times 2. We look at our partial map to see how many times this target has appeared before now. That's our left count. Next, we update the partial count for the current number v, effectively saying, okay, we've seen one more v. Finally, to get the right count, we take the total count of the target and subtract the partial count we just updated. This leaves us with exactly how many targets are remaining in the list. Multiply left by right, add it to the answer, and we're good to go. Okay, now for the second method, which the editorial calls enumeration plus binary search. This one uses a different strategy. Instead of just counting how many, we store a list of positions for each number. So if the number 6 appears at index 0 and 2, we save that list. Then, when we look at a middle element at index j, we go to the list of indices for our target value. We can use binary search to quickly find where our current index j would fit in that list. This tells us instantly how many valid indices are to the left and how many are to the right. And here's the code for that mathematical approach. It involves a helper function for the binary search, which finds the upper bound. Notice we are careful with the range loop, skipping the very first and very last elements since they can't be middle elements. Let's zoom in on the tricky parts. First, we build our index map. We loop through the array with enumerate so we get both the index and the value. We append each index to the list corresponding to its value. So for our example 636, the entry for 6 would be a list containing 0 and 2. This map effectively tells us where every number lives. Inside the loop, we call our upper bound function. We pass it the list of indices for our target value and our current position I. The function returns two numbers: how many indices in that list are smaller than I, and how many are larger. There's one sneaky edge case here: zeros. If our middle number is 0, the target is also 0. That means our current index I is actually inside the list we are searching. The binary search counts it as being on the left, so we have to subtract 1 from the left count to exclude the middle element itself. So how fast are these solutions? The second approach we just saw uses binary search inside a loop. Since we iterate through n items and do a search that takes log n time, the total time complexity is n log n. The first approach, the counting one, is actually faster. It's just big O of n, or linear time. For space, both are big O of n, because we store maps proportional to the size of the input list. Generally, the first approach is preferred because it's slightly more efficient. Alright, that covers the main solution in Python. As promised, for those of you who code in other languages, I'm about to show the full solutions for Java, C++, and JavaScript using the efficient counting approach. I won't be breaking these down, so just pause the video on your language of choice to check it out. Alright, as promised, here is the full solution in Java. It follows the exact same logic as the first Python approach. You can pause the video here to take a closer look at the implementation. Next up, here is the C++ version of the solution. We use unordered maps here for efficiency. Again, feel free to pause and review the code. And finally, here is the solution in JavaScript. Note that we use BigInt to handle the modulo arithmetic correctly, since the numbers can get quite large. Hopefully, seeing it in a few different languages helps solidify the concepts. So let's wrap it up. We looked at two great ways to solve this. The key takeaway here is that for triplet problems, fixing the middle element is a very powerful strategy. It breaks the problem into two simpler independent parts, looking left and looking right. We also saw that while binary search is a cool tool, sometimes a simple pre-computed frequency map gives us a faster, cleaner solution. Alright, before we finish up, I want to quickly show you a personal project I built to solve a problem that always drove me crazy. It's an app called My Daily To-Do. My biggest frustration with every other to-do app was retyping the same things every single day. Go to the gym, review code, work on the daily Leetcode problem. You know the drill. So I built my app around one simple but powerful idea: separating your routine tasks from your one-off tasks. Routine tasks, marked with the little refresh icon, automatically reset for the next day. One-off tasks, like ship new feature, get the little puff of smoke icon, and they disappear for good once you're done. This small change turns a dumb checklist into a smart scheduler. If that sounds useful, you can try it right now on the web. The link is in the description. And one more thing I want to make super clear. Right now, as a thank you for being an early supporter, the app is 100% free. There are no ads and no subscriptions whatsoever. This means you get access to everything, including really powerful features like presets, which let you save entire task lists and load them with a single tap. Now, down the road, creating new presets will likely become part of a premium plan to help support the channel. But, and this is the important part, any presets you create now, while it's all free, are yours to keep and use forever. So it's the perfect time to check it out on the web, play with all the features, and build out your perfect setup at no cost. If you enjoyed this problem and want to keep practicing, the learning doesn't have to stop here. I've organized all my video solutions into handy playlists. Whether you're looking to grind through more Leetcode easy, medium, or hard problems, or you want to master a specific topic like sliding window or dynamic programming, I've got a playlist for you. It's the perfect way to focus your study sessions. Go to the Playlist tab and find a playlist that fits your goals. Also, if you're looking for even more Leetcode problems beyond the daily challenge, I've started a second channel called Leetcode Unlocked. It's where I'll be posting solutions to a ton of other problems, so if you're serious about your interview prep, be sure to check it out. The link is in the description below. Hope this Leetcode solution breakdown made sense. If it helped, give that like button a click, maybe subscribe for more, or drop a comment if you have questions. Make sure to turn on the notification bell so you know straight away when I upload a video, because I upload videos daily. If you want to support the channel, a few people have asked how I plan my solutions. I'm a big fan of sketching out the logic and data structures on a tablet before I code. It really helps. I've put affiliate links in the description to the tablet I use and a few other good options. Using those links doesn't cost you anything extra but really helps me out. Or, if you're feeling generous, there's always the Boba Fund. Keep coding, and I'll catch you in the next one.